dey bow again. I no fit shout oh, I no go close my mouth oh. Things wey dey happen to girl child in my country, I no go close my mouth oh.
This podcast is proudly brought to you by members of Group 3 for Educational Broadcasting, Department of Mass Communication, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Do enjoy and stay tuned.
It's a beautiful afternoon to all our darling listeners, wherever you are right now across the country. Well, here is a Twitter live session. This afternoon again, we have a wowing topic of which we have an important guest, a lady with high profiles. Well, just before I get to bring her in, I am Ishaq Bilal. And just before I get to introduce the guest for today's session, it is very pertinent for me to be able to give us a preamble leading to what we'll be discussing today on the Twitter space. It is not again saying that one of the most significant tools to empower girls with their family and community is education. As we all know, education is recognized as a fundamental human right. Yet, gender inequality in education, however, remains a huge concern. Despite several national and international legal instruments, we've actually seen that in this country, there are so many legal instruments that have been on ground to ensure that this gender inequality comes to an end. However, many girls still face the challenges preventing them from access to education. Therefore, this Twitter live space will be focusing on the theme of girls' education in Nigeria. We'll be examining the challenges, the importance thereof, and of course, the solution. Joining us on the Twitter space this afternoon is no other person than one of the special conveners of the Stand with a Girl initiative. Of course, it's a non-governmental organization. It's an honor to have the person of Miss Ademola Praise Joladura on our Twitter space this afternoon. Hello, Miss Joladura. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Bilal. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome to this Twitter space once again. Okay, well, let's quickly get down to the main business of this discussion today on the Twitter space. Nigeria as a country, it is gathered that Nigeria is with an estimated population of 206 million people. And from these 206 million, it has approximately 14 million out-of-school children, making it the highest number in the world. And girls make up 60% of this number. Regardless of mandatory basic education, there are so many barriers which has kept ladies away or girls from accessing education. Can you give us an overview of the current state of girl-child education in Nigeria?
First off, I would say that it's been quite devastating to find out that the number remains the same over the years, despite all the groundwork that has been done by numerous NGOs in the country. And the northern part of the country, unfortunately, has been the side with the most hits and the most challenges for girls. There are various areas, various factors that cause this problem of, illiteracy and out-of-school children. The problem is still there. It's still very glaring, despite the lots of work that have been done, even by the Ministry of Education and the Commission of Education at various states of the country, the works of NGOs and philanthropic individuals. But hopefully, we hope to see a change in the coming years. At least let the number reduce. That's our hope.
Okay, from the answer you just provided now, you kind of hinge your own case on a particular region, which is the northern region. If I may ask you, can we actually say the influx of the out-of-school children, should we allude it to a cultural factor, or should we actually base it on a societal factor?
Well, the cultural factor is one of the foremost factors, especially here in the north. Most number of children, number of girls get married before they are 18. And not to speak of the issue of insecurity and other violence acts against children, in which also the female gender have been very, very prone to or been victims of particularly. And it's sad to find out that when these matters happen, especially when it happens to girls, the solution that most parents feel is necessary is to prevent their female children from going to school, which I understand to be the heart of the parents. The parents would not want a child to come across any harm, but it's one of those factors that unfortunately does not help them in the aspect of their literacy.
Okay, so right now, Ms. Joladura, particularly citing your own non-governmental organization, how far have you gone in measuring that gender gap in literacy rate and the educational attainment in this country?
First and foremost, SWAG Initiative is a non-profit youth-led organization that exists to ensure that every girl is empowered to fulfill her maximum potentials, regardless of her background or whatever. So, our NGO is involved with, has collaborated with a lot of organizations, including UNFPA, EVA Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Health, and others, to go on several projects. I think there's one of them in which I was a part of, and it's called GAS for short, which stands for Girl Advocates for Safe Schools. And our mission was to ensure or try to push forward for the implementation of the safe school policy, particularly in Kaduna State, to ensure that schools are safe for girls to go to. And there are so many various factors. There are a lot of projects that the NGO has, embarked on to ensure that girls are provided with opportunities to fulfill their potential to become self-reliant. They also have this capacity building projects with the IDP women and girls at WASA. WASA, that's at Abuja. We have the We Lead project. We have the Data Made Simple project. There's also the Gauge project. There are lots of them, and so far it's been able to help translate, particularly the adolescent youth. About 12 Nigerian states in the country. There are IDP girls presently in school. I think last week, about half a dozen of them graduated from their primary, secondary school learning for the first time, which is very, very interesting. So there's a lot of underground work going on, a lot of people seeing that girls are given the opportunity to become better persons, to become self-reliant.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Joladura. In case you are just joining us on the Twitter space, we are with one of the special conveners of the Stand With a Girl initiative known as SWAG, an NGO, which is a non-governmental organization, Ms. Ademola Praise Joladura. We equally want to appreciate the presence of some of our listeners on the Twitter space, including MC Bill and, of course, I think Prince Mohammed. Thank you for joining us on the Twitter space. Okay, then, what steps do you think should be taken to ensure a brighter future for girls through education?
We have the large bulk of work that non-governmental organizations are doing and the government is doing, but starting from the grassroots level, I believe every family, what the NGOs do and initiatives around do is to create a better informed society. I just really hope that this information that is going out, particularly using this Twitter space as an example, I hope it actually touches and changes the mindset of whoever would be listening to it, there are some of us who listen to this who are not married. What is the idea? What is the mindset that we are creating for our future homes? How do we value girls? How do we value the roles and functions of girls in the society? I know we seem to be soaked deeply in culture and tradition, but even in the past, we know that okay, the role of a mother is important, and that role cannot be taken away from her, no matter how strong the man is. The role of childbearing, for example, and raising children. And as the world evolves and we find more women in tech, we find more women in the working sectors all over the country, I think our minds should as well evolve to see that, okay, the roles and functions of females in society has expanded beyond housewifery and to other sectors, various industries in the country, because we cannot keep living by the archaic understanding we used to have before. There are various industries presently compared to before, and various roles that needs to be filled. And we have trainings that can be taken by both genders. So I believe that one of the things we need to do is to actually change our mindset about the roles and functions of women in society and help, if you see a lady or a female who is going through restrictions, I think beyond monetary and other form of tangible means, we can put in a word or two, support with our voices, support with our actions, first and foremost, before we start to support with money and other forms of resources, because that's what most non-governmental organizations do, amplifying the voices of the marginalized and underrepresented people in society. So we should not be quiet. We should not see it as, okay, it's a thing of culture. If everyone would be truthful to themselves, they would realize that the role of the woman is beyond kitchen and the other room, if they want to be particularly honest.
Thank you so much, Ms. Joladura. Just before I get to you, I just want to acknowledge the presence of one of our dear listeners here in person of Fatima. Thanks so much for joining us on the Twitter space. Prince Mohammed, thank you so much. MC Bill, thank you so much for joining us on the space. Right now, I think it is that particular time where some of these listeners will actually get to give in their own voices as well. This will actually help us know how far will they be able to pass this kind of message to people out there. Because if you can say it from here, then the people that listen can actually go out there and spread the gospel. That gospel is actually the main thing we actually want people to do, not just on the Twitter space, but to spread it either words from the mouth or on the social media, any particular platform that they would want to share it. So right now, we'd just like to have, if MC Bill, I would like you to turn on your microphone and give us what would you say from the contributions made by Ms. Joladura. Do you have any contrary opinion to what she has said? Or what exactly do you feel she's missing that you would like to add? MC Bill, your mic is on.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Joladura. You spoke very well and actually touched most of the factors that hindered the girl child from acting up. But I think it is also important when we mention the economic factor, because even though there are some parents who may want to get their children into school, but their financial stand is not so strong, and I think it is also a factor that has limited the ability of the girl child to go to school. Meanwhile, when in a family of 5, where you have maybe 3 3 boys and 2 girls. When there is a problem with financing, that's the capital to send these girl children to school, they would later resort to sending the male ones. And since the girls are really going to get married, so why not just push them into marriage and allow the boys to go to school? So I think that's also a factor that should be addressed. The government should see a way to reduce the capital involved in education, subsidizing education, especially for the girl child.
Thank you so much, MC Bill, for the points you've raised. Well, you can actually turn off your microphone. Let's quickly have Ms. O Fatima to bring in her own insight. What are your views shared by our guests and, of course, MC Bill?
Okay, on the economic aspect, I think I'm looking at it from the side that, okay, you have the middle child, you have to send your female child to school. Depriving your girl child of education. That is wrong. Now you are saying that the family might not have money. If he is the only child and the family does not have money, there is free education. The government has got education much easier. There is free education. There you can pay just little to get education. But in a place that there is a male child and there is a female child and you are sending the child to school, you are claiming it's economic factor, that one is wrong. So that's all I have to say. I didn't hear what the I'm just joining. I didn't hear what our point was, so I can't comment on that.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. O Fatima. Thank you so much for that short insight. Well, let's quickly have Prince Mohammed's thoughts on what Ms. Jola Dura has been saying about the need for encouraging the girl child to want to go to school. Prince Mohammed, your mic is on.
Okay, thank you. Personally, I really enjoyed this conversation. Miss Praise, we have issues of poverty and issues of street housing in the rural parts of Nigeria, the way I come from. So, I don't know. Is your NGO, how do you contribute in making girls financially, provide things to where I'm from, in Plateau State where I'm from? We have issues of crisis there, and it will not be easy for ladies, actually, students, to go to school and to have accessibility to educational materials. But I would like you to emphasize on this. This is a question I'm personally posing to you. Does your NGO, is there a way you people improve? Because it's not easy where I'm coming from, actually. I know a lot of people that they don't go to school, and though we cater for them, support them one way or the other. But how far is your NGO or any NGO that you know that is constantly, personally, and definitely developing all these kind of issues around places, not only in Jos, but in places around northern part of Nigeria where we have issues of insecurities and a lot of girls that are missing out in school? So this is just my question to you. I just want you to emphasize on this, please, so I can get more idea from it.
To answer your question, particularly for Stand With A Girl initiative, I know that there is a lot of work still to be done, but there's still a lot of work going on here in Abuja and in Kaduna, because that's the primary focus for my NGO. The headquarters is here in Abuja. But regardless of all this, we all have kind of our limitations, just like how we are taught in school about doing our research projects. We have limitations of the study. We have study population. So all these factors kind of come into play. I believe there should be people who are working on the ground at your place there in Jos, but it's a gradual process. There'll be a time when this problem will be completely minimalized in the country. So I believe in one way or the other, if there's a way you can support, for example, we have this SWAJEP project that trying to remember what it stands for, Stand With A Girl Initiative Education Project, SWAJEP. So the project, we seek for funds, from people who people who believe, people who want to support, people who desire change in society, because the NGO cannot do it by themselves. even the federal government cannot do it by themselves, giving the support to go to school. So what's our reaction when we come across this kind of call for support? Do we see it as something that is not, it's none of my business, my family members are in school, so you said you notice a lot of out-of-school children in your environment. This is the same problem that our youth leader at Stand With The Girl Initiative saw and decided to start it up. So you do not necessarily have to start an NGO or anything. You could collaborate. You could speak to someone who knows someone who is involved with these women directly, and in any little way, give your own support. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
We really appreciate all the insights you've dropped, and in case, of course, our dear speakers and other listeners are on the space. But one final question. Where do you see the future of girl-child education in the next 5 years?
I am a visionary. I like to imagine everything positive. As much as negativity rules, you have hope. One can only hope. One can only believe that things will change and understand that even though it's kind of like a cliche, commonly used phrase in the world today, change begins with me. But we really need to understand what that means, what that statement means. So in the next 5 years, I see this country having less gender-based problems. I see females all out there. I particularly, with no apologies, hope to see that in the next 5 years, issues surrounding women. I hope to see that it's something that is a norm. So I see more educated women in their masters, going their PhDs, degree holders, and not just primary school leaving certificate holders.
Well, thank you very much. Ms. Ademola Praise Joladura, one of the special conveners of the Stand With A Girl Initiative SWAG. Thanks so much for joining us on the space today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you all for listening.
Well, thank you so much, Prince Mohammed, MC Bill, Miss O Fatima, and to those that actually joined us at some point and left the space. We believe you've taken one or two things from it. But just before we let this space go, I just want to, on a personal note, I would just actually want us to state this. We know that parents and the community have a large role to play. These parents and the community should be educated on the consequences of certain traditional practices which have detrimental effect on girls and families. Further progress ensuring equitable access and encountering gender disparity in education is very crucial. Such progress requires the government to challenge and eliminate the barriers and their roots, especially those traditional practices. These are the big steps to be taken. However, they will have a significant impact and improve the current situation for girls and their access to education. Education not only grants girls access to knowledge, but extends these benefits to her children, her community, and even her entire country. It should not be forgotten that girls will be the mothers of tomorrow's generation. Therefore, making education a significant part of their life is very crucial. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone, on this Twitter space. I remain Ishaq Bilal.